All right, we're recording.
Awesome. Well, welcome you guys to our Monday night team call. And I'll redo that intro. We were gearing up for a pretty awesome conference that's kicking off next week, and a lot of us are traveling and most of us are super excited, and it's going to be an incredible week. But to kick it off, tonight we're going to be talking about our business story and sharing more of it. And Danielle's going to take the lead on this call, and I'm super excited to have her transfer this information down because it's so great to hear from other people. And we learn every time. She teaches me stuff all day long. I love it. So sharpen your pencils and let's write. You're going to hear a lot of this stuff at conference, and it's really a big push for the company. And just a public service announcement: if you are on the phone and not muted, please mute now because we have some background noise. But we are going to be working on this a lot. I know Stephen Shapiro did a great job at really talking to us about this, and we've heard a lot from Janet Black on the NMD chats, and I know I have a feeling that there's some things planned for us at conference when we're there. So the sooner we get going on really sharing our business, because it is our other product, if you want to think of it that way, to offer people that. So much of the time I was in the chiropractor's office last week, and I was speaking with him directly, we were talking about the products and whatnot. And I said, but sometimes it's not the products that really save people. Sometimes it's the business that saves people. And he was like, what? And I said, no, seriously. Like sometimes it's $350 or $500 a month. It's the difference between somebody foreclosing on a house or putting their kids to, private school, or, making sure that they have food on the table or whatever it is. Sometimes it's the money. And, if you can do it in a way that's serving other people, why not? Right. So let's be thinking bigger and broader about all this. And with that, I'm going to turn over to Danielle.
Thanks. Okay. So, all right. So, this kind of comes off of actually a call that I had with my business partner, Carrie Sims. So, so you guys know, those that are on the line that aren't familiar yet or that are listening to the recording playback, when you fast track to sales coordinator, you get put into the tier 1 business partner program. So you get a business partner, and then, you build this relationship, and it's really awesome. And so I've been working with her for a long time now, and we do these monthly check-in calls or coaching calls. And our last one that we had was really focused around your business story, right? We brought that up. And I think, like to Melissa's point, I think we will hear a lot more about this, at conference. And I didn't really want to wait, Melissa and I were talking earlier, I didn't want to wait until after conference to go through this exercise or bring it up or have you guys think about it, because, we're working on our businesses every day. Why not? Let's just start right now. And so this was something that I was planning on doing next week with my local team when we get together to kind of round table and really practice in our, in our environment, sharing our stories with each other. But I thought, let's bring it to the whole team. And let's all work on it together. And if we think back to when we did the March game, and for those of us that participated in that, and we were sharing our product story, how great was it, right? When we were working on our product story and hopping on our Voxer chat and being able to hear one another's stories and get some feedback on it and then try it again and tweak it. And so I'd almost sort of envision this in the same way, where we can kind of run through a little the guidelines for our product story, and then work on sharing it again on our Voxer chat so we can just keep building those skills. The most important, I always say, the most important tool we have in this business is our story. And when we get started in this business, we're very much, in line with working on our product story, because it's all about our experience, right? It's all about how are we feeling? How's our family feeling? Why did this make sense to us? And, as you're adding team, even in the beginning, we encourage you to use your upline support. And so, you don't necessarily have to have your business story per se kind of nailed down, to get your HLP and to reach for your 2000 plus, so to speak. But after you get that under your belt, it is another important step to kind of have your business story nailed down. And as Carrie was saying, you should have your business story down 30 to 45 seconds. You should be able to wake up in the middle of the night and spit it out right away without hesitation. I don't know, show of hands, who could do that? I don't know. I don't see many hands. Like, I don't know, Melissa, you've been doing this for a very long time. I'm not sure I even could. So I went through this exercise as well, because I think, we should do it all together as a team. And I love mission-driven models. So I'm going to direct everybody back there, and bear with me a second. I'm going to go to share screen because I have it opened on here. Actually, I'm going to back out one more time. Okay, so, okay, can everybody see? Actually, can I see you guys? Yes. Can you see the screen? Thumbs up? Okay, thank you. So when we're on mission-driven model, which is a great resource, build your team down at the bottom, and then your stories. See that here? Okay, it takes you to this page, which ultimately this is kind of the worksheet I'm going off of. So if you were to scroll down and click on it, it's going to open it up nice and big, and you can print that out, which is what I did. I printed it out right here, and I kind of went through it myself. And so I'm going to talk through it right now, and I'm going to talk through kind of what I did using this guideline. And then when I think, we can have some open discussion and dialogue and questions and things like that, because I don't think I'm going to take like a half an hour to do this. But then I'm going to encourage everybody to take a stab at running through this, and then throughout the week, hopping onto our Voxer chat and giving it a go on our team chat, so we can all be a part of it. So obviously our business is a business of storytelling, and we always say this: you don't have to be an expert on Juice Plus or the business, but you do need to have a good story, right? And so many of you on the line, and so many I'm sure listening to this recording too, have your product story down. That you could probably do in your sleep at this point by now. But when it comes to our business story, we sometimes need a little work on that. So I love this experience, share, and join. So if we're looking right down here at this point, for your business story, you can use experience, share, join, and then you go deeper using this PLOT acronym, and I'll get into that in a second. But experience, I was having such a great experience, or Juice Plus made so much sense to me. For me, because I jumped into everything kind of all at once, I would say Juice Plus made so much sense to me. I wasn't having an experience because I wasn't, right? I wasn't on Juice Plus for months. I wasn't a raving fan. But share, I started sharing with others, and then join, I learned more about the company. So this is what my kind of flow, when I pieced it together based on my personal experience before going into the plot, kind of sounded like using this. Juice Plus made so much sense to me for my family that I knew I wanted to share it with more friends and family. And as I learned more about the company, I knew I wanted to be a part of their mission of inspiring healthy living around the world. Right? And then I could go a little bit deeper. So that was super simple. So I'll say it again. So Juice Plus made so much sense to me, for me and my family, that I knew I would want to share it with other friends and family. And as I learned more about the company, I wanted to be a part of their mission to inspire healthy living around the world. And then okay, any questions thus far? Probably not. Pretty straightforward, right? Okay. This creating your story worksheet, obviously you can see there's two sides for your product and for your business. Right now we're just focusing on the business side of things. Okay, so this is what PLOT stands for. You can read it here, and if you can't, I'll just read it aloud. Pain. What areas of your life were you dissatisfied with that made this business attractive to you? And I'm going to just say right here, not everybody has pain. Not everybody comes to this business because they're dissatisfied with their life. And again, I'll give you my own example. I was not dissatisfied with my job per se. I really enjoyed the work that I was doing. I had reached a point eventually where I didn't necessarily like somebody that I was working with, but I could have very easily moved to a different company or a different club, or made a change in location, still doing that same type of work because I really enjoyed doing that work, right? So I wasn't coming from not everybody. So I just want to keep that in your mind. Not everybody necessarily has a pain point, but some people do. Some people really are dissatisfied in some part of their life, and they really do need to make a change.
And sometimes they come to it, I would say pain or passion, you know, sometimes they come to it because of the passion, not necessarily because of the pain, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, because this is your own story, this is personal to you, right? So I just want to give you the example for me. And then lesson, what have you realized that you need to do in order for things to get better? And again, I wasn't in a place of pain, so I wasn't at that point looking to make anything better per se. Again, it was more of the mission. So I love this company, the mission that we're behind, because that's really when I can think back to when I first started, that's what I really spoke to was I love this mission of inspiring healthy living. How cool is that? I feel like those were probably the words I even said. How cool is that? Just to keep it really small. Then there's your opportunity, right? What are the features of the Juice Plus company that are exciting to you? There's something that's gotta excite you. What is it? You know, was it an awesome opportunity for you? I can fit it into my already busy schedule. That was certainly me, while earning a part-time income. And then a triumph. What have you already accomplished with your business, or what are you going to accomplish that will be a triumph to celebrate? Maybe you're going to pay off debt, be home with your kids more. Again, just taking a step back for the people who are just, you know, maybe starting out or newer. Maybe you feel like you haven't had some major triumph in your business. Maybe literally just signed your application 2 days ago. It might not be a major triumph yet, but the fact that you said yes and there's opportunity there for you, this could be something that you will work towards covering your grocery bill. You will work towards paying off the debt. You might have the long-term vision already of leaving this job to stay home with your kids. It may just be that I'd like to do this business on the side so I can bank some extra money and take that dream vacation to Hawaii that our family has always, you know, been talking about. So it could be I'm doing this business so that we can open a restaurant one day, and you know, who knows, right? It's going to be something different and personal for everybody. And obviously here you've got your little worksheet, and I went through the worksheet, and the only thing I crossed out for myself was, if you look in under lesson, I crossed out the problem because I didn't have a problem. So I'm going to read through, and yes, I am reading it because I literally just did it today. So I do not have it memorized yet, but I will go through this exercise and work on it and tweak it and hop on Voxer and share it with you guys. Okay. So here's what mine sounds like. I used to work as an event planner, and I enjoyed it because I was able to help people plan something really special in their lives. But what I realized was that I wasn't allowing myself time to plan for my own family's future or our own special occasions. And then I found the Juice Plus company, and my life changed in a great way. I got healthier and decided to build a business helping others get healthier too. And I'm having fun doing it. I love that I've met so many supportive people. I've reconnected with so many old friends and made a ton of new ones. And now I'm blessed to be planning my family's future and not someone else's. And I love that I get to help others realize their dreams too. So would you like to take a look at what I do? Or maybe you know someone that would like to join me on this mission. Okay.
Yay.
So I'm going to stop share, but I took out the now I'm celebrating. And I don't know if Melissa, if you have any thoughts, I'm going to make this bigger. If you have any thoughts around that too, but you know, I didn't just come off of some big promotion, you know, I'm not quote unquote celebrating anything, but I've been doing this long enough that I feel blessed to be doing this work with amazing people. So personally for me, I think the biggest gift is the people that I've been exposed to and am continually exposed to because of this work that we do and this mission that we're on. And so for me, that's what I like to speak to as my, you know, triumph, quote unquote. And of course, yes, I'm home with my kids more, so that's usually part of my story.
I think and I think you said something like, I feel blessed that, right? You replaced that with it. Yes. Or I've heard people say, I'm grateful that. I think that's how I use it typically in my story. The language has to be your own. That's the key, is you want to use this as a guideline to tee you up for your own natural language, because in that you're going to connect with more people, right? It's all about the authenticity piece coming through. And so you don't want it to feel forced. It may feel a little bit awkward at first because it's new, and that's okay, but it shouldn't feel forced. It shouldn't feel like you're using somebody else's words, and if you want help around that, we're here to help.
Yeah, which is why, I crossed out the problem was that didn't,
right.
I wouldn't speak like that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And, on this worksheet too, where it talks about the opportunity and there's verbiage in there, personally, I didn't for this exercise, I just literally read it straightforward, but I might tweak that a little bit. But using along those same, so, use that as your guide, and then maybe use some language that feels good to you. If you've been doing this long enough, then you probably have some language that you're super comfortable with. Like Chrisanne has been doing this almost as long as I am, and you're awesome at sharing, your business story. So you might have some awesome language that you're totally comfortable with. But, there's always room for tweaks and adjustments. And that's what I love about this business too, is there's always room for growth and change, and, and it's not like, no, go ahead.
I was just jotting down as you were saying that too. I think some of the key components to just like work into your story is people want to know these things. They want to know why you said yes to the business. Saying yes to the product is different than saying yes to the business. They want to know why, and so I think it's really important for me. My initial why, you guys have heard all my story. I said yes because I wanted my dad taking the product. That was the reason why. But that changed, right? And then when I decided to take this, more seriously as a business, it was more of a decision to step away from the world that I was working in because it was too demanding of my time. And I was falling in love with this work. And that was what was propelling me forward, right? So that was my why at that point. So people, they want to understand your thought process because they can connect to that, because they're going to try to see in their mind, like Danielle said, there isn't necessarily a problem or a pain all the time. In fact, I think I look for people who are really happy in their life, because they're going to go out and talk to lots of people, and they're busy and they're out there and all that. And hey, that just makes for a really fun team. It doesn't have to be, down in the dumps. And sometimes people don't even want to hear all about that stuff, but if you have a compelling story that's part of your authentic experience, then you do want to include that, because it is remarkable, when it comes in and changes things. So whatever is true to you has to be amplified. Just focus on the positives, because that's what people really respond to. The second thing I jotted down when you were talking was, what you're excited about. So I would reference something that you're excited about in the future. And to your point, you don't have to be a national marketing director to say, I've had success in this business. Everybody's had success on some level. It's just about you making the decision. So they want to know why, to what you're excited about. I'm so excited to build, to use this business to serve my community and build a college fund for my kids. I'm so excited, to use this to build our second home, to, retire my husband from his work, to not whatever your reason is, but your excitement, right? Mm-hmm. And then where you're going, like, where are you going with this? Right. So they don't want to just know that you said yes. They want to know, like, are you, like, people follow people in motion, right? So they want to know that you've got a direction. Like right now, what I'm focused on, I always end with what my right now focus is. Right now, I'm focused on bringing 10 new frontline people to my team because we're in a rebirth mode, and I need satellite offices, if you would, really about the community. And that's something I'm really, conscious of. If you're open to some information, I'd love to share what this looks like, or maybe you can listen. And if there's something in your life that you're thinking of that would be a good fit, that would be a great way to connect me too, How would that be okay? But you're closing then for that next step. So it's not just about sharing it. It's the closing for the next step too. That's got to be at the end of it. So are you open, and would you, be willing to sit down? If they say yes, then book it. Don't say, great, okay, I'll talk to you later. Like sometimes that happens. They're so excited they said yes, Then it's like, okay, great. So how does next week look? Or how does Tuesday look? Or how does, and that's the skill piece, right? So it's the practice, the passion, the practice, the purpose piece. But then the skill piece is the getting the appointment that we need to be thinking about.
And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it.
Yeah. And
it's going to slightly evolve, and it's going to slightly change. And you're going to say it one time to someone and be like, that didn't kind of feel right. And you know what? That's okay. And then you're going to go say it to someone else and be like, that felt a little bit better.
Yeah.
But the bottom line too is people are not really even remembering half the things that you're telling them. They're not, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. And we say that around, when you're sharing your product story, but it goes the same for the business too. So if you're sharing your business, experience with them, and you're super excited and you're really passionate and you're really charged up about it, they're just gonna be like, oh my gosh, she was like so excited about that. What? I might just have to listen to more because I don't know what she's so excited about. I'm not even paying attention. Who knows? But always think about the energy. Again, just think about the energy that you're bringing to the conversation and to what it is that you're saying. So
and I think that's so important, Danielle. Yeah, because if you're coming to it nervous, they're going to be like, ooh, nervous, scary. Ooh, nervous, scary. Like that's all they're going to remember, right? But if you come to them happy, excited, confident, totally different experience, and they're not going to remember what you say. But I think it's even more so important with your business story than your product story on that note, because the business is different for people, right? It's a different way of thinking. It's a different way of doing, interacting with commerce. It's just a different way for a lot of people. Some people are super open to it, but the majority aren't yet, and so because of that, the authenticity piece is key, and that positive nature is so critical, right?
Yeah. So really, if you've been doing this for a little while, you want to make some bullet points, like take a look at what your business has done for you for the last, over the last 12 months or 6 months, depending on how long you've been in this. Think back and reflect, like, what has that done for you? What has it afforded you or your family to do because of your Juice Plus business, right? And going forward, what do you want from your Juice Plus business? For those of us that have been doing this for a while, like, let's think back and reflect and like, let that be a piece of your business story. I'm so grateful because of this Juice Plus business, my family was able to go to Hawaii. Obviously, I want that to happen.
Keep talking about it. Yeah.
We're able to go to Hawaii, and it was amazing because of my Juice Plus business.
The Mai Tais, man, the Mai Tais. I just can't forget. Shred pause.
Seriously.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? So think about those things too. Does anyone have any questions or want to share anything, or because we have time where we can make it a little open dialogue? And if
I do.
Yeah, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Oh, I just got huge. Oh. I thought when we did the March thing where we all practiced our stories, we talked about making our stories not specific, so that they were appealing to a broader scope of people. And now we're talking about making our story pretty specific. So now I'm like a little confused.
Okay. So when we were talking about the broader scope in terms of the product, and once you can jump in and correct me, but my interpretation is, when we're talking about the products, you want to cast more of a wide net, because one, everybody needs fruits and vegetables, right? Like, my kid was super sick and I knew he really needed them. Not everybody has a super sick kid, or like, I have this major health issue and I'm, been battling it and I needed Juice Plus because of that. Like, not everybody has that major health issue, but everybody needs fruits and vegetables. So you don't want somebody to get stuck on, I don't have that major health issue. My kid's not sick. They're super healthy. My kid's not a picky eater. They love their broccoli all day long, every day. Right? Yeah. They just get fixated on whatever your issue was that you needed Juice Plus for. So you needed it because you had those issues. I don't have those issues. I'm totally healthy. Right? But we know the truth of the matter is everybody needs more fruits and vegetables in their diet. And so if we can be more bland in our product side of things,
broad.
Right? More people will be open to it, more people would be able to see that they too could benefit from having Juice Plus in their diet. So it's a little different from the business experience, because the business is not for everybody.
Right. Yeah. Product universal in the sense that there's nobody that's ever not had positive results from taking it. I mean, whether they feel it or not is a different thing, but we know that scientifically it's showing that every single human being is benefiting, right? So that's cool, And so for the new people, I would encourage you, I was just going to say this, like Lisa, for you, you're so new. It would be really cool to say, listen, why keep a good thing a secret? This was something that is making such a major impact in my life. I can't hold this back from other people. And, I really felt compelled to share. And why not build a side business in the process? It gets me the tools and the understanding and the education that I wanted, and now I get to go share. So I'm looking for partners right now. I'm looking for people to partner with and to help get this message out. I don't know if this is for you or not, but would you be open to some information? Right. So there, you're talking all forward thinking. You're talking all the things that are going to happen in the future, but you see how you're going somewhere, right? You see that's in that language. That's what I was trying to get at. If people feel like you're going, they want to get on a train that's moving, right?
Yes.
Right? So that's kind of the key. Yeah. But I think that there's times when, about tying them together. Sorry, Jen, was that it?
No, my question was more so about the business side of it. Like you said, to keep the business side as vague as possible. The business story, sorry.
To keep the business side more as vague?
Like not to get into too much detail, but like remember when we were working together, my business story was very specific.
I think to Danielle's point, too many details or too much language around it can put people off. But if you shorten the verbiage, still getting at these same points, it moves it in the direction of where people are going to want to step into it.
Keep
Does that make more sense?
This exercise is to hone in on like your 30 to 45 second story.
Yeah.
This isn't like if you're having a more in-depth conversation with somebody, like you just recently went to brunch with someone, right? Where you had, time to sit down and talk to them, where you have the opportunity to give your like more of a full detailed, sharing of your story, and also the nature of the relationship that you are in with that person warrants more details versus somebody that you're, maybe you just met, or a newer relationship, or somebody that you're speaking to more quickly in passing. Like you want to be able to just hone in on spitting out the business story in a short, condensed, like short and sweet type of opportunity.
You're basically just creating curiosity, with emphasis on positive movement, right? And creating like a little bit of a hook. You want them to have something to think about. And you never want them to feel like we need anything from them. I think that's the other thing that, we kind of get into a trap with this particular business, is that everyone thinks you're trying to recruit them. As soon as they hear that you have an MLM or, a network marketing business, they're like, what do I have to sign? What do you want me to sign it? Right? Like you want something from them. And it's not that way. I try to turn it in the business side of things really into more of an invitation. And I specifically say, I do not invite everybody into my business.
Right.
Because I don't, because there's a lot of people that I wouldn't, I've got a lot of customers and I'm super happy and grateful for them. But, working with somebody is a different experience, right? Totally different. You guys see how close we get, how much we hang out and all that kind of thing. It should be an honor, and you can say things like, I'm a part of this really dynamic team and I would love to introduce you to them. If you're open to it. I don't take this lightly. Like I don't, invite just anybody, but I really see these great gifts about you. 1, 2, and 3. I thought of you because, right? That's kind of my favorite way to invite. Mm-hmm. Danielle's using this sheet and we're going kind of exploring through this a little bit to get you guys comfortable with the different ways of working this stuff into your vernacular. We want you to like get comfortable practicing until you find what works for you. There's no right or wrong way to do it per se. There's adjustments that can be made along the way. And I'm constantly fine tuning my stuff. Some things are, Danielle hears me tell a different business story every time we talk to somebody, I think.
The more you go down this road too, and the more, you're involved in this journey, like you do tweak your business story, even your product story, but, just to be focused for tonight on business story, I might share my business story slightly differently with a mom at school than I would with, somebody at a gym that I know is the manager there or an owner, or like a farmer at a farmer's market. Like, depending
Totally.
on who I'm speaking with, I might share my story a little bit differently. And that too comes more with time and with experience. Just developing your story further, getting comfortable with your language. So again, if you can hone in on these skills now,
right,
practice it and get really comfortable with where you're at now, it makes it easier to grow along the way.
Okay.
and the fine tuning comes with the emphasis of just being able to relate better to more people. You know, once you get good at it, you tend to, you're like not a chameleon in the sense of but yeah, right. I mean, kind of a chameleon, because you wear lots of different hats. Like if you're talking, like to your point, if you're talking to a nurse, or if you're talking to a doctor, it's one kind of a conversation. If you're talking to a gym owner, totally different conversation. You're talking to a stay-at-home mom, different conversations, and you want to cue in on different points, because it's not about us, right? It's really about them. It's about them and what this business can do for them. But in engaging with them, the point of a story is to get them to relate to it on some level. And so that's where it comes through. But, to the point of this worksheet, it really is just about, creating an environment and a story where you can practice and practice and practice and relate. And I always say practice on strangers. It's just the safest way to do it. It really, truly is. Who cares if they call you the next day? Who cares, right? I mean, at least you've practiced until, and you can walk away going, okay, that was okay. Let me change this. Let me do that, right? And then you kind of come back and, I mean, Buffy, you're awesome at this, and it's in the having that courage. Yeah, she does. We have had more three-way calls with bartenders. It's hysterical. But it's great.
How do you get free drinks at conference? Come on.
Right.
I'm so kidding.
Yeah. So is this making more sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions? I like your questions, Jen. Thank you for speaking up. Is there anybody else that had questions around it specifically, or wants to give a stab at it, or any of those good things?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, go to Jen. Are you trying to say something up there?
Jen Zestock.
Jen Zestock. Can't hear you. Oh, there you are.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. My case, apparently I have a new iPhone and the case blocks the microphone. Sorry. So it's kind of what Jen was talking about. The original story, that 30 to 45 seconds, I thought was product and a little bit of business at the end. Like you talked about how you got involved in consuming the product, and then how it became a business. So now, when do you just use this business story? Because are there times where you're saying just use the business story? Like, don't tell them, like, hi, I was introduced to Juice Plus by, Danielle and Jen, and how I start that story? Are you saying to shorten that part of it and then make the business part more of the bulk of the 30 to 45 seconds? Or are you just saying make a business story, and when you're trying to invite someone to the business, you just focus on that and not really talk about your experience as a consumer? Or does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I asking the same question that Jen asked, or I just didn't really understand the
No, I think it was a totally different question.
Okay.
No, I get it. I think, the nature of the conversation is going to dictate what story you're sharing. So if you're in a conversation with someone where you want to bring up the business or share the business with them, or they ask you, did you just start, what are you doing? Or, you can bring up just your business story.
Okay.
Like there's opportunity for that. This comes down to like just good old fashioned, like interpersonal communication skills.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Just knowing who you're speaking with and the type of conversation you're having.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what is it that you want to share with them? Is this somebody that, they also have a kid who's sick and you want to just connect with them on that level? Then you're going to share your product story. Is this somebody who is like a powerhouse ace and you love their mojo and their energy and their firecracker, and you're like, oh my gosh, I would love them on my team? Share your business story. Right? Like you have to know the nature of whom you're speaking with and the conversation that you're having.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely have to practice that because I'm so used to telling them kind of together. So I have to separate it out.
Well, you can still, I think the goal is ultimately to bring them together. It's just to know what to emphasize on when. And that goes to Danielle's point, because I mean, I don't think the products are ever totally disconnected from the business story in total, because, if the products make sense to you, the business may too. I tend to, like Danielle said, like there's some conversations I lead in. I called my cousin flat out and said, I'm bringing on 10 frontline people. I've been talking to you for a while about this. Are you open yet? Like, to some information. This is what I think is so great about you. This is where I'd love to fit you in. I don't know if it's for you or not. Frankly, neither you're not going to know either until we really take a look at what it's going to be, and that's kind of where it all started, but it was a business conversation, and then the products, we had to go back and make sure that the products, I always say, like, you got to make sure the products make sense to you. But I think they're a lot more compelled to learn about the products when they know that you're talking about business, and they'll always say things like, well, if, I want to try them, make sure I agree with all this, make sure it makes sense to me and all that kind of stuff. Like, they'll come back to all that, right? Because when they don't, you can be a little nervous because then they're just, there are people who are just in for a business experience, but we want them to be authentic in the product recommendation as well. Obviously this isn't the kind of MLM where they can come in and just sign up a bunch of reps and be successful. It doesn't work like that. So it has to be product driven. So to your point, Jen, it's like you can't really fully separate it, but at the same time, just know where to emphasize when, and that comes through practice and through really kind of gauging part of it's where you want to go with the conversation, but the other part is where they're at too, because there have been times when I go in leading with a business conversation, I see it's not going to go in that space. We've got to back around and do a little bit more relationship building or a little bit, that kind of stuff. There's one gal right now at preschool who she's so wonderful and she'd be amazing, and I keep we get a yes, let's meet for coffee. She even said to me, hey, let's meet for coffee. And then we backpedaled a couple times, and then she's been kind of avoiding me a little bit. But then I see her in social situations and I don't bring it up, and I just feed into the social situation. I be me, my authentic self. And she sees me bring in shakes for other people and, do all these things that put up the tower gardens at school, and she's watching. I know she's watching because she's in that pre-contemplation stage we talked about, right? With the stages of change. So much of this is, it's not that you're going to ever say the most perfect thing, you guys. It's that it takes a lot of practice. And I think that, to Danielle's point, we're just not practicing this piece enough for it to feel really good, and that's why separating it out and going through this sheet and really thinking through the questions and writing them down and practicing to yourself and practicing on some strangers, and then maybe coming back to the, Voxer chat, put a little bit there, and then rejoining it with your other story, and together, building that confidence muscle, and going out there. Chris Ann, that's funny. Right? Am I on point there, Danielle?
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, good. Well, we definitely went over.
So let's go sign up 10 new two team members, each of us. It'll be a great month. We'll have so much fun. We'll have startup chats all the time. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully this gave you a little something to think about.
Definitely. I got more papers to look at.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it, Lisa.
No, exactly.
Just speak from your heart. Really. Yeah. No, don't overthink it. No.
I promise.
Simple.
That's
Yeah.
Simple,
Makes sense to me. I don't know about you. Here's a video. Zip. Just really.
Like I said too, when you are starting out right in the beginning, we just say, don't worry too much about the business side of things too. Use your upline for support.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just
Yes.
kind of let them do the speaking
Yes.
for you, right?
And Chrisanne had me on the phone with, with two people today, right? That's a good example that she's following the system. Danielle's following it. You got a whole line of people, right?
Yes.
Doing so follow what they're doing and you'll be successful. Yeah.
Okay. I will.
All right, amazing people. Well, thank you so much. If that's it, then we will sign off for this evening.
Yes. Good night, everybody. Be blessed.
Guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Bye.